Right. Where do you put those three? You got a chance to play against all those three. And from your opinion, where do you put Mike, Kobe, and MJ?
I gotta go with MJ. See, it's hard for me to pick current players and put them against the past because I'm still playing one and I'm never going to give them that advantage. That's just what it is until I'm done. But two, it's just what it is. I mean, MJ, okay, all right, I'm going to break it down like this. How many times MJ went to the finals, please? Anybody? 6 for 6 times and won every time. Okay, so he's undefeated. So he don't know what it's like to lose in the finals. He can say undefeated. Very few can say that. That's number one right there.
But at the same time, I have to give LeBron a spro. That man went to the NBA Finals 8 straight, 9 times.
Correct.
Incredible. It is what it is. And so I say this, and when you go that many times, you're gonna lose. That's the reality. You're gonna lose. That's just how it goes. And we're in a world where numbers matter. And with that being said, look at his winning record. That man is undefeated. Gold Island. How many times did Kobe go? 6 or 7?
6 or 7.
6 or 7.
Yeah.
He got 5 little things.
Mm-hmm.
5 or 7.
Look, that's we people always talking about their winning percentage, but that's the time to talk about winning percentages. That's why I said it. But it depends on what you're talking about. One of the greatest athletes to play this game, LeBron James. See, I can have that conversation with you. Because you the future Hall of Famer. You played the game a long time, and we didn't have a lot of we've been in the game. But when it's people that really don't understand the game, I just leave it at they're all on Goat Island and none of us is invited. I'm gonna leave it at that. No. And you know what? That's well said. And that's what I said, because you're going to always ruffle feathers.
If you're a diehard Bron fan, you think it's disrespect when you say otherwise about him, Cole, and Mike. So that's just, it's going to be an ongoing battle because unless they ever played against each other. Just imagine them playing against each other.
So for the record, you got MJ, Cole, and then LeBron.
Yes.
Can LeBron, in your opinion, well, LeBron's maybe 2-3 years left, maybe 4, does he have an opportunity in your mind to possibly jump Cole?
He has an opportunity. I mean, and it's just going to be based off of what he gets done. But like I said, he gets to the finals again. I mean, you're just going to give him more credit now. 10 times in the final, like it's insane. Like he got to the finals double digits, insane. It's just I just say to people, let's just wait and see. Wait until when it's all said and done. Then it's fair to have a real debate because we're talking about MJ and they can't score any more points. That's it. They can't score any more points. He the greatest, but all right. That's why I think what younger generations kind of in limbo. Like, all right, he was cool, but LeBron's better. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But what about him was so special, right? But you watch that now when people ask these questions about who's the greatest and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what rules are we using? Because if you put some of the players and stars of today in that era with hand checking and the physicality and what is considered a flagrant now, I don't care how good they is right now. It's a whole different ball game, right? When somebody holding on your shorts the whole way illegal, and it's, come on, man, when you run through the paint and you can get bumped, it's different. And that's my argument with people. Like, it ain't no disrespect to anybody because they're all great, and you're going to argue back and forth, and everybody's going to have their opinion. But I'm saying, which rules are we using? Because right when if you say we're using today's rules, okay, well then take Michael Jordan, who's battered and bruised and getting up every time he was running around off a screen and put them in the rules today. Then what? You can't touch him, averaging 45. And that's my argument. And it's no disrespect to any of these guys. He was averaging 30 back then, though. That's my point.
If you're a diehard Bron fan, you think it's disrespect when you say otherwise about him, Cole, and Mike. So that's just, it's going to be an ongoing battle because unless they ever played against each other, just imagine them playing against each other. So for the record, you got MJ, Cole, and then LeBron.
Yes.
Can LeBron, in your opinion, with LeBron's maybe 2-3 years left, maybe 4, does he have an opportunity in your mind to possibly jump Cole?
He has an opportunity. I mean, and it's just gonna be based off of what he gets done. But like I said, he gets to the finals again. I mean, you're just gonna give him more credit now. 10 times in the final, like it's insane. Like he got to the finals double digits, insane. It's just. I just say to people, let's just wait and see. Wait until when it's all said and done. Then it's fair to have a real debate because we're talking about MJ and they can't score any more points. That's it. They can't score any more points. He's the greatest. But all right, that's why I think what younger generations kind of in limbo, like, all right, he was cool, but LeBron's better. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But what about him was so special, right? But you watch that now when people ask these questions about who's the greatest and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what rules are we using? Because if If you put some of the players and stars of today in that era with hand checking and the physicality and what is considered a flagrant now, I don't care how good they is right now. It's a whole different ballgame, right? When somebody holding on your shorts the whole way to legal, and it's, come on, man, when you run through the paint and you can get bumped, it's different. And that's my argument with people. Like, it ain't no disrespect to anybody because they're all great, and you're going to argue back and forth and everybody's going to have their opinion. But I'm saying, which rules are we using? Because right when if you say we're using today's rules, okay, well then take Michael Jordan, who's battered and bruised and getting up every time he was running around off his screen and put them in the rules today. Then what? You can't touch him. He's averaging 45. And that's my argument. And it's no disrespect to any of these guys. He was averaging 30 back then, though.
Whatever you say, you're going to ruffle feathers, and that's cool. But I got the opportunity to play against Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James. So I got to see all of them in their element. Not obviously, I didn't play just prime Mike, but Mike was pretty damn good at 40. That man scored 50 points at 40. There is one truth that cold numbers, advanced metrics, and empty debates will never capture: fear. Not respect, not admiration. Fear, that spine-chilling sense that grips an opponent's chest the moment he walks out of the tunnel and sees the predator in jersey number 23. Picture this. You are an NBA player, a warrior forged by thousands of hours in the gym, ready for battle. But then the lights dim, sneakers screech against hardwood, and Michael Jordan walks out. He doesn't need to speak, doesn't need to point, doesn't even need to smile. With just a glance, you know, tonight is not about you. Tonight belongs to him, and your only mission is survival. Vince Carter said it best. Basketball in the 80 seconds and 90 seconds was a battlefield. Hand checking was legal. Elbows were legal. What we call a flagrant foul today, back then it was just good defense. And in the middle of that brutality, Jordan didn't just score points, he turned his own pain into the fear of his opponents. 6 trips to the finals, 6 rings, not a single crack, not a single failure. In his dictionary, the words finals loss simply do not exist. Think about it. Countless legends have stumbled on that biggest stage, but Jordan, never. That is not just victory, that is immortality. A badge no one else can truly wear. And the fear wasn't only on the court, it leaked into locker rooms. Opponents avoided eye contact. Defenders' hands shook at the free throw line. Entire game plans collapsed because of one man. That was the invisible weapon Jordan carried every night. You can argue stats, you can argue finals appearances, you can argue scoring titles and longevity, but there is one thing you cannot argue. No one in the history of basketball ever made an entire league tremble like Michael Jordan did. That is the difference. That is the line between superstar and immortal legend. Fear is a weapon. Fear is not just an emotion. In sports, fear is a force, an invisible hand that changes outcomes before the ball even goes up. And no athlete in NBA history wielded fear as masterfully as Michael Jordan. Jordan's opponents didn't just face a player, they faced an atmosphere. The air thickened when he walked onto the hardwood. His presence alone was a warning shot. I'm here, and your season ends tonight. Every dribble, every stare, every wordless pause carried a weight heavier than the scoreboard. Players have admitted it.
They weren't just competing against Jordan, they were trying to survive him. Think about 1989 in Cleveland. The shot. The Cavaliers had everything lined up. Home crowd, momentum, hope. Yet hope dies when fear walks in. Everyone in that building, from the bench to the fans in the rafters, felt the inevitability. Alo defended him well. The clock ticked. And yet deep down, every soul in the arena already knew. Jordan would rise. Jordan would hit. Jordan would rip the heart out of a franchise. And he did. That single flick of the wrist was more than a game winner. It was a message etched into the league's DNA. When it matters, I own you. And then came the Detroit Pistons, the bad boys, the league's enforcers. They built the infamous Jordan rules to break him physically, to break him mentally. Elbows to the ribs, hands pulling his jersey, shoves that sent him crashing to the floor. They treated him not as an opponent, but as prey to be hunted. Yet the prey transformed into the predator. Jordan didn't retreat, he rebuilt. He put on muscle, sharpened his mind, and returned like a man possessed. And what happened? The very team that prided itself on intimidation found themselves looking into eyes that no longer blinked, a will that no longer bent. The bad boys, once the embodiment of fear, became the ones haunted by it. That is the essence of Jordan's power. Pain didn't weaken him, it weaponized him. Every bruise became fuel, every defeat became a blueprint, every shove became a reminder that he would not just win, he would make you regret ever trying to stand in his way. Even his teammates knew this weapon. Practice with Jordan wasn't preparation, it was punishment. He tested you, taunted you, tore into you. If you flinched, he destroyed you. If you held strong, he pushed harder. The fear he instilled inside his own locker room became iron sharpening iron. By the time the Chicago Bulls stepped onto the court, they weren't just ready, they were battle-forged. Rivals weren't just facing a team, they were facing men who had already been broken and rebuilt under Jordan's fire. Craig Hordes, who guarded him every single day in practice, once confessed it. There was no escape. Jordan's hand strength, his suddenness, his relentlessness. It was like guarding a storm. Every possession, every move felt like a death sentence waiting to be carried out. And deep down, that's what opponents feared most. Not that Jordan might beat them, but that their very best would never be enough. This is the psychology that separates Jordan from every other superstar. LeBron inspires admiration. Kobe commanded respect. But Jordan? Jordan summoned fear. It was visceral. It was primal. It was unavoidable. Fear made defenders second-guess their first step. Fear made coaches rewrite their game plans at halftime. Fear made entire franchises crumble season after season. As one man imposed his will on an entire league, Michael Jordan did not just play the game of basketball, he weaponized fear until it became part of the scoreboard. And once fear became his ally, defeat for his enemies was no longer a possibility. It was a guarantee.
That meant defenders could ride your hip with an armbar all the way up the court, holding your jersey, guiding your body like shackles. Every cut through the paint came with a forearm shiver. Every drive risked a hard crash to the hardwood, and there were no flagrant fouls to bail you out. What today earns a whistle, a replay, and 2 free throws, back then it was called good defense. Jordan thrived in this chaos. He didn't just survive the brutality, he made it irrelevant. He scored 30 a night in an era where defenses were built to bruise you into submission. Imagine that, averaging the highest career scoring mark in history while being mugged on every possession. And yet, Jordan didn't flinch. He sharpened himself against that grindstone until he was unbreakable. Now invert the scenario. Take that Jordan, the one who was battered, grabbed, shoved, and fouled without mercy, and drop him into today's NBA. No hand check, no brutal forearms, no clotheslines under the rim. Instead, the game today rewards freedom of movement, protects offensive stars, and inflates numbers like a balloon. Do you realize what that means? The man who scored 30 a night while fighting through prisoner defense would be scoring 45 a night in today's space and pace era. Vince Carter knew it, and every old school Warrior knows it too. Today's rules would turn Michael Jordan into a scoring apocalypse. And here's the haunting truth. Jordan never needed the help. He already conquered the harshest rulebook in NBA history. He already carried his team through an environment designed to break superstars. He already turned the league's most physical defenses into highlight reels. When the Bad Boys Pistons created the Jordan rules, they weren't trying to stop a player. They were trying to stop a force of nature, and they failed. So when modern fans compare stats across eras, when they say LeBron's assists or scoring totals surpassed Jordan's, they forget the weight of rules. They forget the bruises. They forget the fear of entering the lane knowing a 260-pound forward would slam you to the floor with no consequence. Jordan did it anyway.
And not just did it, he dominated, undefeated on the sport's biggest stage. The truth is simple. Greatness is always relative to its environment. LeBron thrives in space and freedom. Kobe thrived in a bridge between eras. But Jordan thrived in a cage match. And if you unleash a man who mastered survival in a cage into an open field, you don't just get greatness. You get something too overwhelming, too merciless, too terrifying to imagine. Michael Jordan wasn't just the best of his era. He was forged by the hardest rules the game has ever known. And under today's whistle, that same weapon becomes a nuclear bomb. Numbers and immortality. In sports, numbers are the language of legacy. Points, rebounds, assists, percentages. They fill record books and fuel debates. But there are some numbers that go beyond arithmetic. Some numbers that stop being statistics and start becoming scripture. For Michael Jordan, that number is 6. 6 trips to the finals, 6 championships. 6 times the season ended not in heartbreak, but in glory. 6 times the trophy was lifted. 6 times the confetti rained. 6 times destiny was fulfilled. 0 failures, 0 collapses, 0 regrets. That is not just a record. That is a seal of perfection. Think about the finals stage. It is not like the first round, not like a random Tuesday night in February. The finals is the mountaintop. Every possession magnified, every mistake immortalized. Legends are born there, and legends are broken there. LeBron James has climbed this mountain 10 times. His durability, his consistency are remarkable. But look at the scars. 6 defeats. 6 times. The dream ended with someone else holding the trophy. Kobe Bryant, 7 trips, 5 wins, 2 losses. Admirable. But he knew what it was like to lose at the peak. He knew the sting of failure when the world was watching. Jordan never did. He does not know that language. He does not understand that heartbreak. The finals to him was not a coin flip. It was a coronation. Each time he got there, it was already decided. 6 appearances, 6 executions, 6 closed doors for the opponent. That's why opponents feared him, because once he led his team to the final stage, they knew their fate was sealed. And the dominance inside those 6, it wasn't survival, it was supremacy. 2 three-peats. 3 straight in the first run, a brief exile to chase baseball. Then 3 straight again, as if time itself bowed to his will. And within those finals runs, what do you find? 2 separate 3-repeat MVPs, back-to-back-to-back titles twice over. That is not normal. That is myth. That is divine repetition. Compare that to the numbers of others. LeBron has more points, more assists, a career stretched across decades. But in the deepest, most ruthless measure, victory on the biggest stage, Jordan remains untouchable. Kobe has 5 rings, but he has finals losses. Magic has 5, but he has finals losses. Shaq has 4, but he has finals losses. Jordan's perfection is what makes his number sacred. 6 is not just a statistic, it's a wall. It's a line in the sand that no one else has crossed. It's a crown that no one else has worn. It is the eternal reminder that Jordan's greatness wasn't built on longevity, wasn't built on volume, wasn't built on participation. It was built on absolute domination when the lights were brightest. That is why when Vince Carter was asked to rank his GOATs, he started with MJ. Because every player who has touched the court knows numbers can lie, context can confuse, but perfection silences all arguments, and perfection has a name. Michael Jordan.
Stats can impress, highlights can inspire, but nothing cuts deeper than the words of men who stood across from Michael Jordan and felt the storm in their flesh. Because fear is not theoretical. It was lived, breathed, and confessed by those who carried the scars. Vince Carter, who faced Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron, put it bluntly. When people ask me about the GOAT, I always ask, what rules are we using? But when it came to Jordan, Carter didn't hesitate. He knew. He felt the difference. He admitted that while LeBron's final streak was impressive and Kobe's fire was undeniable, Jordan's record, his aura, was something else entirely. Carter described it with a tone of awe and warning. MJ never lost on the mountaintop. That's not a statistic. That's intimidation carried like a shadow over an entire generation. Craig Hodges, Jordan's own teammate, gave perhaps the rawest testimony. Guarding Jordan every day in practice was like guarding a storm. He had giant hands, the gripper that let him control the ball one-handed like no one else. He could palm, fake, and manipulate space with impossible ease. You couldn't predict him. You couldn't outlast him. Hodges said it plainly. Every day was survival. And if you lost focus for even a second, Jordan buried you. Imagine what that did to his teammates. Now multiply it by the terror opponents felt under the lights. Reggie Miller once recalled trash-talking Jordan as a rookie. He poked the bear, tried to puff his chest, and Jordan responded by obliterating him. Miller confessed, that was the lesson. You don't talk trash to Black Jesus. Black Jesus. Think about that. An opponent didn't just call him great, he called him sacred, untouchable. That's not respect. That's reverence laced with fear. Gary Payton, the glove, one of the greatest defenders ever, faced Jordan in the 1996 finals. Years later, Payton admitted, I could slow him down, but I couldn't stop him. And when The Last Dance aired, Payton smiled nervously at the memory, while Jordan laughed at the suggestion that anyone could contain him. That laugh, cold, dismissive, lethal, was the sound of a man who lived in opponents' nightmares. Even Hall of Famers like Charles Barkley, Magic Johnson, and Larry Bird acknowledged the same truth. Bird, after Jordan dropped 63 points on the Celtics in 1986, shook his head and said, that wasn't Michael Jordan out there. That was God disguised as Michael Jordan. Imagine that, Larry Bird, the coldest assassin of his generation, reduced to describing his opponent in divine terms. This is the weight of testimony. Not fans, not analysts, not numbers, but warriors. Men who bled on the same floor, who trained for the same wars, who carried the same pride.
and who still confessed when it came to Jordan, they felt something beyond competition. They felt inevitability. They felt awe. They felt fear. And this fear was not always loud. Sometimes it was quiet. Sometimes it was the silence in an arena after the shot. Sometimes it was the heavy breath of a defender, knowing his best defense would still be on the wrong side of a highlight reel. Legends spoke, and their words all point to one truth. Michael Jordan didn't just beat you. He made you believe you could not win. That's the weapon. That's the edge. That's the story his opponents carried with them forever. The mindset of a killer. Basketball is a game of skill, yes. Of talent, yes. Of strategy, absolutely. But above all, basketball at the highest level is a game of mind. And when it came to the mind, Michael Jordan was a cold-blooded assassin. What made him terrifying wasn't just his fadeaway, his hang time, or his clutch shots. What froze opponents in their tracks was the knowledge that he wanted more than to win. He wanted to break you, to humiliate you, to take your will from you, and leave you questioning whether you belonged on the same floor.
Kobe Bryant inherited that fire, and we call it the Mamba mentality. But even Kobe admitted his mentality was modeled after Jordan's blueprint. Kobe studied the killer. He learned from the master. And while he executed it brilliantly, it was still a reflection of the original. LeBron James, for all his greatness, operates differently. His genius is in making the right play, in elevating teammates, in seeing the floor like a general. Admirable, yes, but generals don't always strike fear. They orchestrate, they build. Jordan didn't orchestrate, he annihilated. He didn't play chess. He flipped the board, set it on fire, and dared you to stop him. Stories from the locker room paint it clearly. Teammates feared him in practice. Opponents feared him in games. Coaches feared him in preparation. Why? Because his hunger was unnatural. Most players dreamed of winning. Jordan dreamed of domination. When he lost, it ate him alive. When he won, it wasn't satisfaction. It was fuel for the next conquest. This killer instinct bled into every decision. Down by 2? Give him the ball. The game is already over. Up by 20? He still hunted for blood because mercy was weakness. He understood something most athletes never do. Fear multiplies. When you destroy one opponent, every other opponent watching takes note. By the time Jordan faced them, half the battle was already won. Think back to 1997, Game 5 of the finals, the flu game. Any other man would have sat out. Jordan stepped on the court drenched in sweat, pale, weak, and still dropped 38 points on Utah. That wasn't just skill. That was the killer's creed. Pain does not matter. Weakness is an illusion. The mission is to destroy. Opponents didn't just lose the game. They lost faith. If Jordan could beat them half dead, what hope did they ever have when he was whole? The mindset of a killer is simple yet merciless. No excuses, no compromises, no survivors. And Michael Jordan embodied that truth in every breath, every glare, every possession. This is what separated him. This is why his name makes defenders swallow hard. Decades later, talent fades, stats get past, longevity has challengers. But the aura of a killer, that is eternal. Michael Jordan was not content to be great. He needed to make you feel small. He needed to leave you haunted. He needed you to walk away knowing you never had a chance. And that, above all else, is why the league feared him. The GOAT debate has raged for decades. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James. Fans scream, analysts argue, numbers are stacked, compared, twisted. 6 rings versus 4 rings, longevity versus perfection, efficiency versus volume. It never ends. But here's the hidden truth. This debate was never fair, because the criteria change depending on who you favor. For LeBron, people point to his points, his assists, his longevity. For Kobe, his artistry, his toughness, his 5 rings. But for Jordan, you cannot box him into one category. He didn't just win. He didn't just dominate. He reshaped the very way the game was played, the way opponents approached the court, the way an entire generation viewed greatness. Think about what Vince Carter said. What rules are we using? That question alone dismantles so many surface-level arguments. Because if you judge Jordan by today's standards, his numbers would skyrocket. If you judge today's stars by Jordan's era, their shine would dim under the weight of elbows and hand checks. Context matters.
And when you bring context back, the debate shifts. It's not just about who lasted longer or who stacked more points. It's about who owned their era so completely that opponents felt hopeless before the game even began. And when you frame it like that, the debate feels less like an argument and more like a coronation. Part 8. The truth revealed. At the end of it all, strip away the noise. Forget the endless stats. Forget the barbershop debates. Forget the modern spin. Ask the men who were there. Ask the warriors who looked across the hardwood and saw the fire in his eyes. Ask the legends who bled for banners and still admit that one man stood above them all. What will they tell you? They'll tell you about the fear, about the perfection, about the killer instinct, about the rules of an era where nothing was given and everything was taken. They'll tell you about a man who never tasted defeat on the ultimate stage, about a man who turned pain into power, doubt into domination, and opponents into believers in his inevitability. They'll tell you what Larry Bird said after Jordan dropped 63 in the Boston Garden. That was God disguised as Michael Jordan. And that's the truth. You don't need to crown him with words. You don't need to force the title. The fear, the numbers, the testimonies, they all point to the same conclusion. The greatest of all time isn't chosen by debate. He's revealed by destiny. And destiny wears number 23.